I'm gonna crack this thing open.
You know how like advent calendars for kids, those chocolate?
Yeah. We got one.
I'm like that with pumpkin pie.
No, it's my first Marvel movie. Everyone's like, "Oh my god, you got to see a Marvel movie in theaters." So I'm like, "Okay, I'll go see Spider-Man."
Maybe they should have been in there because I have some opinions on why Georgia is in the playoffs. They should not be in the playoffs.
Oh my god!
Why should
Not
they?
you.
They just lost.
Welcome to the Beer and Sports Podcast. I am Josh Wingate. He over here, there is Josh Kimmel, Josh Kimmel OUS. I'm Josh Wingate 302, and we are a part of the Fins Talk Sports Network. You can follow us and the network on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch at Mugs of Balls, at Fins Talk Sports. How's it going, Kimmel?
What is good? Happy Father's Day.
Yeah, happy Father's Day to you as well. Belated.
Belated. Did I text you yesterday? I
don't think we text each other. We were just so busy yesterday. I feel like that. I don't know.
We don't text each other. No. If I think honestly, I want to talk about my Father's Day because it has to do with sports. Sports related. So I decided. I looked because the last Rays game I went to, 2018, July 21st, they played the Florida Marlins. Home game at Tropicana Field. I took my son. He was about 6. He was born in March, April, May, June, July. He was 4 months old. 4 months old. That's the last baseball game I've been to. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to take my kids to the baseball game. I'm a huge Rays fan now on the bandwagon. Tickets are only $10 still on a Sunday game at 1 o'clock. Like you can still buy $10 tickets. So bought the $10 tickets.
That's anywhere.
I don't know. I don't know baseball prices. Like for me, like if I was a big baseball fan, I'm not spending $50 on a ticket because there's so many games. They should be lower. So I didn't know. Like for example, all 3 of our tickets were $37, which is like half of one nosebleed ticket for the Lightning. So to put it in perspective,
I'm bougie when I go to games, so I have to sit lower level. I'm scared of heights. So
anyway, it's baseball.com. But hold on, this is a little story here. It won't be too long.
Yeah,
Go on raisebaseball.com. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna buy some tickets. So I can look at like I'm like, all right, Sunday's Father's Day. Let me just buy these tickets. Sunday, didn't even look. Well, I went out to St. Pete, which for me is a 45-minute drive. I crossed the fucking bridge. It was miserable.
Ooh, not the bridge.
We left at 9 o'clock in the morning. The game was at 1:40. I decided I was going to get breakfast out there. We're going to do some things and activities because I'm not driving across the bridge for a 3-hour baseball game. I'm going to make it a day, right?
Yeah.
So I made it a whole day. So we did breakfast. We walked around. We did some window shot. We did a bunch of stuff. It's 11:30. Game starts at 1:40. You can go into the game 2 hours before for batting practice.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, we're the first ones here. Usually there's a line. Usually there's people. So I just drive right through the fucking parking lot. Not one person took my ticket. Not one person did anything. I just drove right up. I was at the very front row of Tropicana Field. I was right there.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is odd.
Yeah.
I checked my tickets. The game's next week.
That is hilarious.
So I'm such a hardcore fan. Obviously, I didn't even know the schedule.
That is so funny. Because I know how you did that because you see a Sunday on there and you're like, okay, it's next Sunday. But what they do on the scheduling is they eliminate the games that they're not at and they only show their home games. So if you don't look at the date and pay more attention, you can easily get caught up into that situation. So yeah, no, I exactly know. That's why I laughed because I've nearly done that before. So because I do want to go to to a game like that. So
yeah, they're fun. And listen. So I sat there at Tropicana Field parking lot, the only one, the biggest parking lot in the world, and I'm the only freaking van there. And I'm sitting there, it's me and my 2 kids, and I'm like, what do we do next? So I'm just fucking searching up. What do we do? And all of a sudden I'm like, oh wait, there's this really cool like putt golf, like adult version, but like kids go there too, called pop something. Pop shot.
Yeah.
Pop something. I don't fucking know. It's out in Wesley Chapel. Another 45-minute drive back to Tampa.
Well, at least you're going the same way that you're going to go anyway.
No, because from Wesley Chapel to my house, it's 45 minutes. It's like a triangle.
So you kind of triangle.
It's a giant triangle. So I drive to Wesley Chapel, pop socket, pop whatever the fuck it's called, pop stroke.
Yeah.
There are more people at Pop Stroke than there are in your state of Delaware.
Then at Tropicana Field.
That too. A lot. So you know how putt. We all know how putt golf works. This one's cooler. It has like bunkers. It's got a bunch of stuff. Like it's a legit thing. It's like a full bar. It's like a Top Golf but putt. Anyway, the line for each hole 1, 45-minute wait to take your shot. So each hole is about 45 to an hour wait.
Ooh, I would have done that. Please tell me you did not do that.
No.
Yeah. Hey, good.
So I decided, what the fuck am I going to do now? It's Father's Day. I'm supposed to be entertaining these children. I know it's my day, but I'm supposed to be doing something.
Yeah.
I look at my oldest. She's a teenager. She's 13. I go, I'm running out of options here. It's like Father's Day. Everything's busy. At this point, it's 1:00.
Yeah.
We're done. So Chuck E. Cheese was down the road. Took Finley to Chuck E. Cheese for an hour. Bought the hour pass, whatever. Like unlimited games for an hour.
Yeah.
Then we went to the mall. Bought my kid some socks. Because that's what Nike socks, guys. I don't know if you know.
Oh my goodness.
Biggest thing in the history of the world.
I've heard that. Like
So-
it has to be like the tube socks, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. She had to get the tube socks. So I said I need socks too, but I'm not paying $22 for fucking shitty ass cheap socks.
Yeah, let's go to
'cause that's what
Walmart
they
too.
are. No, I went to Reebok. Reebok socks were $10. She was doing this in the store. I'm embarrassed. What are you embarrassed
Really?
for? We're in Reebok. I was like,
Reebok used to be the spot. You got
all I'm saying is they're socks.
AIs
Yes, AI.
back in the day. They had the pumps. Like, let's go.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. So either way, I got her socks. I got my socks. Mine were 10. Hers were 22. Mine were better. Either way, how was your Father's Day?
Mine was good. So where I live, we have a ferry that you can take to go into New Jersey. So it's called the Cape May Lewis Ferry. We took that. And then we went to a bunch of breweries, had a great time. Had somewhere to eat. Good time. We actually stopped and I got a seltzer because I've talked about this on the show before. It's not the exact one that I want because Cape May Brewing Company did it was a peach Wawa tea. You've heard me talk about this before. It was amazing. They now, I think, got rid of the branding and it's just doing like a hard iced tea. It's like a lemon iced tea, but it is fantastic. And in honor of that, I'm going to pop this one open and drink it.
There you go.
It's good. It just tastes like a lemon tea. It actually tastes like Wawa's lemon tea. If you've had that, not their lemonade iced tea, but their lemon tea.
Their lemon tea? No, I'm not a big lemon tea guy. I'm more of a. If
I know you're not
tea,
a sweet tea guy.
It's got to be an unsweet tea. Well, it's just tea. I just drink tea, people. I drink tea. I don't drink sweetened tea. I just prefer. Oh, that looks good though.
Yeah,
looks good. So there you are. You're drinking. I'm not drinking, guys. Sorry, water over here.
Yeah,
guns out.
And I think I'm gonna. I'm trying to do better with the health. So I'm going to try and switch to seltzers during this show, just to try and because someone has to drink on the fucking show. There,
that's big. That's big of you. That's big of you, Josh. I'll just say.
So I'm going to move to seltzers.
You know what? I might as well get a seltzer. You know what I'll do? Tomorrow, or by next week? I'll just buy a 12-pack of High Noons because what's 100 calories, right? I can have 100 calories.
Definitely.
So I'll start just drinking High Noons on the show. If that's what you want, that's what you.
No, that would be perfect.
That's what you were.
I feel like I'm the alcoholic here, where I'm over here popping a can every day, and you're just, I'm just drinking water. So
drinking water. I'm freaking what else? Protein shakes, right? Anyway. But we got some sports on the show. We really do. We really do.
We actually talked about it this time because I haven't been I've been an asshole the last few weeks. But we have, I feel like, a pretty good show lined up for us today. We're going to talk about, and I threw this one out to you. Should NFL players stop wearing helmets and pads? And is it going to be safer for them in the long run? And are we going to see a more technical style of game through that? And then as well, I believe you brought up the idea of if every team's first string quarterback got wiped out, who would be the best team in the NFL?
And I do want to say this. I saw this on Twitter. I don't know who the source was. I totally forgot. When I'm not shaking up protein,
whoa.
I'm scrolling through Twitter and I just honestly forget everything. But somebody posed that question. I didn't go in the comments. So when I saw that question, I'm like, that's a good one for I want to talk about that.
I like this. I actually like having these types of questions instead of trying to get into
news and
all that and discussing that. Let's get into these fun topics because I feel like there can be some good discussion around that. So, and I'm just going to start. I mean, Chat GPT and all these questions for you guys to get you that AI immersion of the show. So,
listen, which one do you want to start with first, Josh? Because I'm really getting into. I think we should do the fun one first, where we talk about teams without their starting quarterbacks, and then we get into the serious topic of health. And
definitely, I'm down for that. I think this question isn't as crazy because we all know who the top team will be. But I would love to hear your opinion because you're the one that saw this. What went around? Like, what went in through your head as soon as you saw this question?
Well, the first thing I was thinking of is, okay, who lost their quarterback last year and did well? Well, the San Franciscos of the world. I mean, Dallas kind of treaded water. Like they weren't great, but they weren't bad. Yeah. They can manage. And then I started thinking, like, okay, this is a defensive question, pretty much.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with that.
Is
a defense and running game question.
Yes. So which defense and running game do you trust the most? And I'm thinking, obviously, San Francisco and
San Francisco's the top team.
Yeah, San Francisco is the number one, number one team, by far. But then I'm thinking, well, wait a minute here. There's other teams that are just as good as San Francisco. It's just they play in a much harder division. And that's when I bring up Dallas. Dallas with that run game, if they get it going with Tony Pollard, and that defense is phenomenal. Yeah. They're also in a slightly better division than San Francisco, but I feel like they can make some noise. They did it with Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush wasn't great, but people were saying, hey, man, we don't need Dak. We got Cooper Rush, which was idiotic. But that just tells me, well, honestly, that just tells me that they can't. That's the
worst thing.
It is idiotic. I get it. But that's just telling me where they would do better. And another one, off the top of my head, that would be terrible, which we've seen it, the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins.
You're saying they would be terrible?
They would be god-awful. They would be. Mike White is not that dude. We saw him one time, maybe twice in New York. Everyone wore that stupid Mike White shirt, and then he shit the bed, ironically, on that game. So that's not much. And plus, I love their defense, but I don't love their run game. They rely on those short timing passes with Jalen Waddle and those deep bombs with Tyreek Hill. That's what that offense relies on, which we would love to get it more on that running game, which is not going to happen with this running back staff.
Can we start a new saying every time someone brings up Mike White? Can we call it the Great Mike Hype?
Yeah, I like that. The Great Mike Hype.
Because that's all he is. He comes in, he looks fantastic that first game, and then he comes back and then just shits the bed. He is the most hyped player, and then everyone's like, I remember last year, it's like, is Zach Wilson going to lose his job to Mike White? And I'm like, well, first of all, no. They have more of an investment in the Zach Wilson. They're not going to do that. But Mike White is trash. He originally started with Dallas, but he is awful. He can do a backup's role where he can come in and win one game for you, and then hopefully your starter comes back. But other than that, he's not going to do much. I agree with the 49ers, best team in the NFL. I agree now that Dallas again would jump up just because I think their defense took that another step this offseason with some key additions to that defense. And I do think our running game is going to be much better, and our receivers are much better than they were last year. I'm not sold on that quarterback there. Another team that I think would do well would be the Bengals. While Trevor Siemian isn't the greatest quarterback, he's a really good backup quarterback who has starting experience, and he has weapons around him. While their defense might not be good, I think they can produce a higher level of offensive production in that Bengals offense because Trevor Siemian is going to be one of the better starters at that point as a backup.
Yeah, shame on me for not looking up everyone's backup quarterbacks before this. I mean, shame on me. I didn't do that. I'm such an idiot, but I should probably do that right now. So I'm Googling the best backup quarterbacks in 2023.
Well, and then you also have Tyrod Taylor. I mean, he's not the greatest, but if you're throwing all the backups in there, he's a better option as a backup quarterback than what you're going to get throughout the NFL. And then there's one other name that caught my eye.
Well,
Taylor Heinicke.
Hold on. I'm glad you said that because I am in the minority, maybe not minority, where I'm not a big Taylor Heineke fan. I don't think he's that great. I think he's kind of mid. I don't think he's special. But this is an odd case where if Desmond Ridder went down, it would be an upgrade. It would be 1,000% upgrade.
Yeah.
I think that he's a better football player than Desmond Ridder, and I think he's a better quarterback than Desmond Ridder. So that's one of the rare cases where I'm like, why are we starting Desmond Ridder over Heineke? It doesn't make sense to me. That'd be a good one. And also because of their offense. They got Bijan. They run the ball nonstop. Heineke wouldn't have to do that much. Would not have to do that much at all.
So if we went through this on a division level, I know you might not be ready for this, but I'm going to throw it out there. And
hold on.
You're division good at thinking off top. I'm gonna say who would win the division out of that.
Oh, and okay, divisions. Gotcha.
So you have the Cardinals, you have the Rams, you have the 49ers, and you have the Seahawks. Their starting quarterbacks would be for Arizona. You would have Colt McCoy. For the Rams,
whoa. Colt McCoy's the starter going in because Kyler's hurt. So are we talking about Colt McCoy's backup? Because right now he's a starting quarterback. That's a fact.
I'm looking at this. So we're looking at this as they lose whoever their day one QB1 is. Not McCoy. Their original QB1, whoever their highest paid or who they would imagine if everyone was healthy would be QB1.
Okay.
Which way are you looking at? I'm looking at it. If everyone's healthy, who would be their QB1? Let's eliminate them off the roster.
Okay, we'll do it that way. Just to make it easy. Just to make it easy.
So Colt McCoy would be the quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals. The Rams would have Stetson Bennett. Go Dogs.
Is he really the backup? They don't have any
right now. He is. Obviously, you need to go through a training camp and everything, figure out that number. But Stetson Bennett right now
just sitting back there like. Someone's gonna. Carson Wentz will be. Hey, I know you guys hate him. He will be signed, and he will.
Stetson Bennett is getting so much hype this offseason.
No. What I'm saying is, I don't care about Stetson.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying, like overly hyped. Stetson Bennett's getting overly hyped this offseason, and it needs to stop. Trey Lance. Actually, we think Trey Lance is going to be the number one quarterback going in, right?
We think that, but do they think that?
So let's say Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is the quarterback for the 49ers. And then for the Seahawks, it is Drew Lock.
See, it doesn't matter because we already decided the 49ers are the best team with the backup quarterback. So it'd be the 49ers. They'd win that division, hands down. Yeah. Now, the interesting question is who would come in second? And that is the more interesting question. And that's when I would kind of lean towards, Seattle. You got this. Hold on. You got Pete Carroll and you got Sean McVay. They can both work wonders. They both did well. With Geno Smith, he was, was it Geno that was special last year, or was it Pete Carroll who knew how to push the right buttons and surround him with the cast and to surround him with a comfortable playbook, something that he could run? Now, what was it? Right? Was chicken or the egg? I believe if it comes down to it, I'm going for Seattle.
Yeah.
Because of the quarterback, he's more of a veteran, whereas Stetson Bennett, he's a 35-year-old rookie. I'm not really interested in that.
He's like 25, 26.
Yeah.
But Stetson Bennett is also, he didn't play very well in Georgia. He didn't take that offense where it could have gone. He's very limited. But I'm going to have to go Seattle just because I feel like if you can get the same play that you got out of Drew Lock, he's got that starting experience. The other player I'm considering with this, and it's Colt McCoy. Colt McCoy is just, whenever he gets a chance to play,
we're not talking about gameplay. We're not talking about gameplay. We're talking about winning games, and the Cardinals will get the first pick. They're bad.
I know. But like, if I'm looking at quarterback alone, I'm like, okay, Colt McCoy might be the second best quarterback in that division. But I feel like you can get better gameplay out of Drew Lock because of the talent around him. You can get him to produce like Geno Smith because Geno Smith didn't do anything out of his mind. He just didn't make mistakes. And that's really what you want in the offense that he played.
He made a ton of mistakes. It's just he got super lucky and nothing came out of it. Number one,
he didn't make mistakes that cost him.
He was like top 3 in danger plays, most interceptable passes. Like he was top 3 in a lot of stats.
They didn't bite him in the ass, is what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah, he had a lot of luck. Good for him though. Good for him. I loved it.
So with that, you can get that kind of play, Drew Lock, make him protect the ball a little more if it's possible, because we all know Drew Lock. I don't know.
Drew Lock is the worst. All right, next division.
Let's go to NFC South. We already talked about it, the Atlanta Falcons with Taylor Heineke. We have the Cardinals with not Cardinals, Carolina Panthers.
Ooh, it would be your
Andy
boy,
Dalton or Matt
Andy
Corral.
Dalton. It'd be
I want to say Matt Corral.
Stop it with your college
background. No, I think Andy Dalton is complete trash.
He is trash, but guess what? He's going to be this backup quarterback.
1,000%. We'll go with Andy Dalton. And then 1,000%. We would have New Orleans is trash, but it's not as bad as trash. Jameis Winston. And then we'd have Tampa Bay with the great and wonderful Kyle Trask. I am hyped about that. And I would throw it down saying that they would run away with the division. Tampa Bay would.
Have you seen the clips? They can't hit a wide open guy in shorts. None of them can. No, they haven't.
They have. I've seen the clips and they can.
It's bad down here.
It is not bad.
It's laughable. It's laughable. They're gonna be up there with Arizona, the top 3 pick.
No, I think Kyle Trask, if he is allowed to start, he is going to grow this year, and he is going to.
You are
not if they have starters, not this year actually, because we're going to have starters in here. But if it was a division full of backups, Kyle Trask would be the winner out of that group.
Okay. Well, we're wrong. We're not talking about best quarterback play. I think you're misunderstanding the question. It'd be the New Orleans Saints.
Well, it is at the same time talking about best quarterback play, because that's what you're eliminating from this team is the quarterback play.
You're eliminating it, but you're also trying to go, okay, well, who's got the best overall team without their quarterback? Who has the best run? Like we spoke before, who has the best run game? Who has the best defense? Who has the best schemes? Who has the best coaching? And at that point, it's between Atlanta and New Orleans, and I'm taking New Orleans in this situation because of Jameis Winston. He can sling the ball downfield.
He can sling the ball, but he also doesn't protect the ball.
He doesn't protect the ball, but that defense is – people undermine that defense in New Orleans.
But what is the worst thing you can do to a defense? Is keep them on the field. And I feel like that's what Jameis Winston does to his defense. So he's going to diminish the defense. But
you got to look – so let's think about it, right? So you're talking about Jameis Winston turning the ball over, not protecting the football, but you have to look at the other people on the other side. That defense in New Orleans will also cause havoc, get pressure on it in Andy Dalton, who loves to turn the ball over, get pressure on a Baker, Kyle, both of them bums. Both of them are bums.
Kyle Trask is not a bum.
He's a 1,000% bum. And then on the other side, Atlanta, yes, we love Taylor Heineke, but there's a reason why he's not a starting quarterback in the NFL, because he does make poor decisions. So in the end of the day, I'm taking the best defense of that group and the best supporting offense cast, which is New Orleans. Like, you can't tell me that's not the best offense in that division. They are. And Jameis Winston has proven he can throw the ball. He can get you 30 touchdowns. He can throw the ball for 4,500 yards. That's easy for him. The other guys, it's like, can Heineke with that offense push the ball downfield? Can Kyle Trask get the ball in Mike Evans' hand, or is he going to sail it over 30 yards like he's been doing all off OTAs? That's not possible for Kyle Trask to do. And in the situation in Carolina, that's just bad. Yeah. They're going to be bad regardless. So that's why I'm going.
How do you feel about people right now even saying with Bryce Young, saying that this team is going to be a black horse going into the season?
People
or a dark horse.
People can say what they want to say, and I totally get why. Riding the momentum from last season is a bad thing to do. So many teams finish the season strong. It doesn't matter. Half those players aren't there anymore. Things change. Things happen. So they finished the year kind of hot. Doesn't mean they're going to start the year hot. They don't have the same personnel. They lost Deontay Foreman, who was a big part of that offense. They lost their quarterback. They have a brand new one in there. And honestly, I don't know about the defensive side because I'm a fantasy guy. But I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. That division is going to be won by Atlanta or New Orleans, and I believe New Orleans is going to win it eventually.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Tampa. I'm sticking with my guns. I'm going Tampa, but I do think New Orleans would be the second best team. I truly believe in Kyle Trask. He is my guy. I would stand on the table for the guy. I think he's going to do really well in the NFL once given this opportunity. Hopefully he gets it. But moving on, we have the NFC North where we have the Chicago Bears getting PJ Walker, the Detroit Lions with Nate Sudfeld. We also have the Green Bay Packers with, is it Sean Clifford? You think would be isn't he the Penn State guy, the 5th round pick? Or
who's the other guy?
Danny Etling.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
What's the last team? The Vikings?
The Vikings with Nick Mullins.
Oh my gosh. That might be the worst backup situation in all of football.
Yeah.
That is by far the worst backup situation. I'm going to go Minnesota. Nick Mullins has some experience in this league. I believe when it comes down to it, I'm going with coaching.
Yeah.
And I believe they do have the best coaching staff. And I think they have you're going to say Detroit, that's your opinion. Good luck with that, buddy, because they're going to be fired in a couple of years, maybe by the end of this year. Either way, what I'm saying is give me the best player too. Justin Jefferson is the best player in that whole division by far. There's no one that can come close to what Justin Jefferson can do. Now, can Nick Mullins give him the ball? I don't think he can. That's the hard part. Minnesota for me.
Nick Mullins, I think can. Nick Mullins has that starting experience. I kind of am starting to agree with you. He's looked good. He's kind of like a next level Mike White.
Side note: the last football game professional was Tampa Bay Buccaneers when Jameis was here, and the 49ers. I got free tickets, and they play. And Nick Mullins was a starter.
Yeah. Nick Mullins has looked good in some games. He hasn't looked great.
And that was George Kittle's only non-good fantasy game that week, and I started George Kittle. So fuck you, Nick Mullins.
But I would agree. Sudfeld. Ugh.
The thing with Detroit.
Here's the thing. PJ Walker looked really good last year.
Yeah, he did.
With Carolina.
Couple games, yeah.
It's just that team is just not good enough to elevate PJ Walker, and you can argue that Carolina wasn't good to elevate PJ Walker last year. But when you have the teams that you have in the NFC North, I'm gonna agree with you. Go with the Vikings, but Nate Sudfeld just so bad. Yeah. I want to go Lions. In my heart, I want to go with the Lions, but I'm going to go with the Vikings.
You can't go Detroit. The only argument you could have for Detroit is they already have a terrible quarterback there. So, and they're already like super happy they won 7 games last year or whatever it was. So 7 games would be a success for Detroit. Good job, guys. Good job. Your dumbass coach won you 7 games.
Yeah.
All right, move on.
So now we have the NFC East where we have Cooper Rush, Tyrod Taylor, Marcus Mariota, Jacoby Brissett. Brissett is with the Commanders. Mariota is with the Eagles. Tyrod Taylor is with the Giants, and then Cooper Rush is with the Cowboys.
This one might be the most stacked.
Yeah.
Backup quarterback room. This one might be the most stacked one. Now, I totally forgot about Marcus Mariota in Philadelphia.
Yeah, but Marcus Mariota looked awful last year with Atlanta.
He did. He 1,000% did. But what are we talking about here? We're talking about teams. We're not talking about quarterback play. Who would win the division with the backup quarterback? You keep on going back to who would play best quarterback. I'm going to.
No, I'm also thinking that team really rallied around Jalen Hurts last year. With his QB sneaks, keeping drives alive. I don't think you're getting that out of Marcus Mariota because he's not that big of a runner as Jalen Hurts is. He's kind of soft. And I don't think you're getting the throws out of him.
Mm-hmm. You're not. But here's the thing: you're still getting in Philadelphia. You're getting that defense who just improved in this draft. You can agree with that. You can 1,000%. Didn't they get that Georgia D tackle that everyone was down on?
They did.
Yep. Not down on, but he was sliding down because of whatever.
I'm down on him.
Okay, you're down on him. I don't really know his name, so there goes my opinion. Yeah. But what I'm saying is Dallas could compete. They did compete, but Cooper Rush proved he can't win big games. He can't put up offensive numbers. Where in Philadelphia, I think you can manufacture touches for AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. Listen, CeeDee Lamb's a stud. CeeDee Lamb is a complete stud. In my dynasty rankings, I have CeeDee Lamb ahead of both AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. But the problem is, I have AJ Brown and Devontae Smith both in my top 12 as receivers. They just have a better stacked team, and that goes on the defensive side as well. I love Dallas. Micah Parsons is like one of my favorite players in the whole world. But the problem is that offense, when Dak is gone, they are kind of useless. They're kind of useless.
They're not as good. But also, we got rid of our receiver last year. Can't think of his name right now. I can see his face. Amari Cooper. So we lost Amari Cooper, and then CeeDee Lamb stepped up into that number 1 role last year, right when Cooper Rush took over. I agree. Cooper Rush is not a good quarterback, but I do think the elements around him can raise him up. We also brought in Brandon Cooks.
But we already saw the elements that rise him last year. We already saw that.
Well, you didn't have a Brandon Cooks. Oh, you are mad right now. We brought in Brandon Cooks. We also have a Michael Gallup that is a little bit healthier. Coming off an injury. He said he wasn't feeling. He said he could barely feel his legs last year. So if he's coming in healthier, I'm going to go with the Cowboys just because I feel like their defense could be the number 1 defense in the NFL next year.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think we elevated our already really good offense. And if you slide Cooper Rush in there, I think it's going to be better. And you're not relying on Ezekiel. I think taking Ezekiel Elliott off of this offense and not making him that number 1 makes this offense 10 times more explosive because Elliott was done last year.
Yeah, he was
not relying on him.
Do we think he gets signed?
If he does, I think it's in Dallas, and I think it's as a 3rd down back.
I think there's a good chance for Tampa. I think Tampa. That's been talked about a ton here. Where there's smoke, there's fire. They need the help. They're only coming in with Rachaad White. I just don't understand how Zeke isn't signed yet, and Fournette too. Who doesn't need a veteran running back or in any kind of your locker room? That's just weird to me that both these guys are on. And Kareem Hunt's unsigned as well. It's weird.
Definitely. So with that being said, you're saying that it's going to be the Eagles, right?
Yeah, Eagles.
I'm going to go with the Cowboys, obviously. So
hey, what happened to that bridge? What the fuck's going on?
Oh, at 95?
I just saw that today, maybe an hour
just
ago.
Today?
So, what happened to the bridge?
It's crazy. I guess a tanker caught on fire underneath and just burned the bridge apart, and it just collapsed.
Is everyone okay?
Everyone's okay. Did you watch the video of the people going across it? And
no, I was on Twitter and I saw someone post a picture of it, and I was like, "Is that real? Is that from a movie?"
Do a little more research. Yeah, it looks like it's out of a movie.
Yeah, I never
do your research, bud.
When did this happen? Seriously, when did this happen?
Shortly after we got back from our San Diego trip.
Did it affect your life?
No.
Okay, I don't know.
If I flew into Philly, it's literally right there by the airport.
Did Canada
I would have struggled to get
the
home.
Fires? What about the fires?
I was actually in California when that happened, so I never got affected by it, which was ironic.
You guys?
I know it was weird and being ironic. I went to California to get away from forest fires, but yeah, it's been crazy out here. It's been crazy.
So are we doing AFC now?
So no, we're going to do AFC. I'm going to push AFC to next week. We'll talk about that next week.
All right.
But what I do want to talk about before we get into our next topic is
whoa. We're not doing the playoffs and the Super Bowl.
Well, we will next week.
Oh, you got to tell the listeners that. Come on, man.
We will. We're going to get into the AFC next week. But before we move into our next topic, I want to break down the NFC playoffs at this point. Who do you think? I would imagine we're going to have the Cowboys, Eagles in there because those are 2 that we agreed on. How many teams get into the playoffs now? 8?
6?
I don't know. There's way too many. So we have Cowboys, Eagles. We're going to go with the Vikings.
Let's not worry about wild card. Just division winners. Let's not worry about wild cards.
Then we have New Orleans. Well, let's worry about some wild cards because we disagree on some of these. So that could be the wild card.
Well, okay. How about this? You can have your Dallas. That's fine. Let me get my New Orleans, and we're even. We're square.
Yeah. Well, New Orleans is the. I'm going to go with the winner there. We'll go with Tampa Bay, and then we're going to have San Francisco.
Okay.
So we have San Francisco, New Orleans, Tampa Bay, Minnesota, the Cowboys, and the Eagles. With that, who do you think finds their way into the NFC Championship game?
NFC title game. See, it'd be difficult because
we don't know the matchups and everything.
You don't know the matchups. Yeah. So let's just say this. 49ers locked in, loaded. Yeah. They're in. They're the home team. They get home field advantage. So now we're looking at the second team. And again, it's going to come down to Philadelphia or Dallas. That's what it's going to come down to, point blank, in my opinion. I have picked Dallas to win this or get to the Super Bowl in like 3 straight years, and I've been wrong 3 straight years. But guess what, baby? Right? Guess what, baby? I'm going again.
There you go.
I know I just argued for Philadelphia. I know I sound like an idiot. But when my heart gets involved, I want Dallas to freaking win, man. Like, I'm so sick of. I want Dallas to have their day.
I do too. And do you know what makes me mad? See, I'm right there with you. I think it would come down to Cowboys, Eagles, and 49ers, and the NFC Championship game will be the Cowboys and 49ers because F the Eagles. But I have a friend of mine's kid. We're friends on Instagram, and he shared it's been 2,000 days since the Cowboys have won a Super Bowl. I'm like, bro, you're a Commanders fan. It's been 11,000 days since your team has won a Super Bowl. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
like it's just like people don't think about those things where your team is absolute garbage for the last so many years. You can't talk bad about my team.
Yes, I did that a little bit this last week when the Panthers lost to Vegas in the Stanley Cup. I'm like, yeah, you guys still suck. You know, we're still the elite back here. We're still number one.
Your team has recently won.
But then they throw it back. Well, you didn't make it this year, bitch.
Yeah.
What? Where's yours? Where's yours, motherfuckers? You know what I mean? So it is funny, like when because people get so mad,
like Philadelphia fans before they won a Super Bowl would literally, oh, you guys live in the past. My comment would always be, well, if you guys had a past to live in, you guys would live in that past too.
Exactly.
So, but anyway, let's get into the next question. The next question was one that I came up with, and I've seen not like a hot topic, but I've seen it before, and it was if you took off the pads, everyone basically you turned it into bare knuckle fighting. No pads, no helmets, no nothing. Would injuries decrease? And would players be more technically sound?
I don't understand this question.
Well, my thing in this process would be, because you're going to argue no, I'm going to argue yes to a point. Players aren't going to hit as hard. The amount of contact that is going to happen isn't going to be as hard without pads because you don't have anything to protect yourself.
Okay. This is where you're wrong. And I'm just going to be nice about this. So in my youth, my little brother, he's 3 years younger than me. We were playing against college kids at this time. Tackle football out in the field, straight up tackle football. Yeah. We've had broken necks. We've had broken clavicles. We've had broken legs. We went crazy. My brother, 3 years younger, against college kids, he was what? Maybe 16 at the time. He was straight up John Lynching people. And if that's not John Lynch was a football player, guys. He was the most hardest hitting player in the world. He was John Lynching people to prove a point that he belonged. He didn't care. He was the one breaking clavicles. He was the one hurting people. You know why? Because he had to prove himself against these people who are 4, 5 years older than him, 3 years older, whatever it may be, because he had to earn his spot. So these other players coming into the league will have to hit harder, will have to go harder, will have to prove themselves, or they will lose their spot.
I don't know about that because I do think injury is going to be concerned. So people are going to hit a little, not as hard if you don't wear equipment, just for the fact of, am I going to get to my next contract? We don't have safety equipment on. So in their mind, they're like, well, I was more protected before, so I'm not going to hit as hard this time. Just to protect myself. They're going to have more of that Deion Sanders mentality of, okay, I need to get paid.
not everyone thinks like that. So you watch Hard Knocks from last season, and what was one of the biggest topics of one of their episodes? They didn't want to wear the stupid styrofoam thing on their helmets. Everyone was complaining about it. There was one person that was like, "Oh, this is cool. Thanks for saving our life. Thanks for making us not get concussions." Not one person. Everyone to a man was like, "This shit sucks. Get this off my head. Let's go play football." These players are young. They don't care about much about their health as they should. Honestly, and in their mind, they're let's go make this money. Let's go make a play. Let's become great. I don't really think that the majority of players care about their health, as in of course, nobody wants to get nobody wants to get hurt. Nobody wants to be whatever. But at the end of the day, everyone knows what CTE is. Everyone knows the consequences of banging your head against someone else's head 5,000 times a game, but they still do it. Now you're saying, oh, take it away. They won't do it.
Yeah.
Well, something else will happen. There will always be some other danger. Now you're not wearing a helmet. Now you're running full speed. Boom, your heads collide. Boom, skulls are cracked. And there's something, and now you can't prevent that because now you're not wearing a helmet. So what's worse? Concussions, yes, they suck, very bad, or cracked skulls, because that will happen.
No, I agree with you. I just want to take the other side of that story. I think eliminating the equipment is just crazy. I saw that comment up. I do see where the idea of it would come about and be like, okay, well, take away the equipment. The players aren't going to be playing as protected. They're not going to feel like they're invincible in that aspect. But at the same time, there's this competitive nature. That's how they got there. They get competitive. And they're going to eventually just forget about all of that and just lay the hammer and hit as hard as they can and just get that next competitive edge. But I did want to bring that up and see what you thought. I know as soon as I brought it up, you're like, I don't get it. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of.
The thing I always, and this is something I don't like. This is something I don't like. I love safety. Safety is one of my, as a dad, I'm not big on, like, when I watch wrestling, I hate ladder matches and stuff. Like, I want safety. I want everyone to go home safe to their families.
Yeah, 100%.
What I don't like is when the NHL added the stupid visors to every player and made every player wear a visor, and like that's gonna help. It probably does help. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a person, but every sport is adding more to prevent this. So taking it away, it was like, who the fuck came up with this? Whoever came up with that is the dumbest person on the planet. Like, literally hey, I wonder if they take away the hockey masks from goaltenders, if they'd be safer.
Yeah.
What the fuck are we talking about? What scientist came up with this great idea?
We're coming up to the end of the show.
I want to know the name.
We got 2 minutes left. So please like and subscribe. We are the Beer and Sports Podcast, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. You can follow us and our network, the Fins Talk Sports Network. We're at Mugs and Balls. They are at Fins Talk Sports. But before we do get off, I do want to talk next week about the AFC, cover who will make the playoffs there, and then eventually come up with a deciding factor. I do want to put an action item on for you. I would love for Viking Dave to come on the show if he can. I don't know if he can. I know he's a busy, busy man. Some way, somehow, get him on the show, because next week I have a topic for us to talk about. I want to talk, and I'm not going to give any content to this, but I want to be the facilitator to this. The NHL, if they eliminated, it is called offsides.
Let's get Evan on.
Yeah, we can get Evan on.
Evan's a big hockey guy. Actually, we should do this on What the Puck Friday night, 8 p.m. Friday.
One way or another, we're going to get there. But I would like to talk about next week, the NHL. If they eliminated offside, what that would do for the game. Would it be more actionable or intense? What would happen? Right. So we'll get to that. We'll figure out who it is, either Viking Dave or Evan Posner from the network. But yeah,
I like it. I'm into it, because is that something that came about? I honestly don't know.
Oh, only if you knew.
Dude, we got to get a running list of, like, what ifs or what could. I love summertime. Summertime brings up the fun. Listen, if we sit here and talk baseball all weekend or all Monday, we would die. We would just go to sleep. Baseball's great. I've been watching a lot of it, but goddamn, it's boring.
Definitely. But anyway, before we get out, make sure to tune in 9:30 tonight. East 10th Street Boys are on. I know. What's up?
I'm just saying, like,
I butchered that name.
What about my show?
We don't care about you. No, I would, but I listened to all of your shows, and I've not heard a mention of the Beer and Sports Podcast one time on those shows.
All right, listen, Wednesday night when I'm live at 8 p.m. with Justin Bowerly and Viking Dave, I will bring up the show.
Definitely. But anyway, before we get out, what do you have for us?
You know, I don't know if this has been said before, but my supervisor loved it when I told him this.
Ooh.
Failure is inevitable, but improvement, that's optional.
Love it.